back is an SUV. Okay, we have Trish here. Hold on just a moment. Let me add her. Hello?
Hi.
Hey, hon.
Sorry, I've never done one of these. I was trying to find a picture of me and my mom so that people would know that I'm
Aw,
really her daughter, but I can't find one on my phone.
it's okay. You're a beautiful picture. I love your hair.
Thank you.
I just did mine the other day. I put a chocolate cherry color in there. Not as purple as yours, but in the sun you can see it. It's beautiful. I love it. How are
Yeah,
you?
I
So,
definitely love the purple. I'm okay. Um, I I take things a little bit easier because I've been dealing with it my whole life, and the backlash from my family is intense, and my mom's having a pretty rough time.
I'm sure she is. And then so your mom your mom is the sister of John, right?
Correct. Yeah, she's one of them. He has two brothers and 6 sisters.
He has, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
He has two brothers and then 6 sisters. Two of them
Wow,
are,
sisters.
yeah, so two of the sisters are blood related, and then the other 4 are his stepsisters. My mom is a stepsister, and
Okay, I was actually wondering that. Does she know you're up here, hon?
no, no, she doesn't. She
Oh,
actually, she like deactivated her Facebook and everything because of my family.
would she be upset that you were up here? I just want to make sure. Is it all right?
No, no, she would be glad that I'm clarifying some of the things. I didn't watch the entire live video with her thing, but I did watch about half of it, and I saw that you guys had quite a few questions, and so I wanted to kind of
Yeah,
clarify them.
I did. So do you wanna start from the beginning and give us, basically your account of the last couple weeks, and then I'll just listen. And you're very strong for, can I just say quickly, what you did for your mom and what you are doing for Summer is an incredibly brave, courageous, and wonderful thing. My heart goes out to you, to your
Thank you.
mom, and I can't imagine how difficult this must be for her. And the fact that she came forward for Summer is incredibly beautiful. Um, Much respect.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm beyond proud of her because she has suffered in silence the entire time, and um I mean, there's other things that went on in her childhood and stuff too, but I know that the stuff that she suffered with Donnie was a huge it's a huge thing. I mean, it's a huge part of her life, and she my family, they always just like push everything under the rug. They don't think that you should um air your dirty laundry, I guess. And because of that, um a lot of people don't even say anything in my family, and the statistic for sexual abuse is 1 in 3 women, or
Mhm.
1 in 3 girls will be sexually abused within their lifetime, and in my family it's 3 and 3. Every single one of my aunts and the majority of my cousins have been sexually assaulted at least one point in their life.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We all kind of deal with it in our own way, but my mom, she hasn't ever really talked about it. I mean, she's told me about it throughout my life, but she's never publicly or openly talked about it. So for her to do that was huge, and I am truly, truly proud of her. because it's a
Yeah,
huge
I would
step.
be
It's a
proud.
huge step in her recovery.
Absolutely. And maybe this is the start of a healing process for your mom. And I think that you being there for her is one of the most beautiful gifts you could give your mom, especially right now during this time, because um, if you don't mind me saying, maybe she might be carrying a little bit of guilt, wondering what happened, maybe not speaking out sooner. But people need to understand many women never talk about this, they never say a word. And unless you have the
Mhm.
support of a family or family members, close friends, it's really hard to come forward. Now, as you stated, you just told me when you came up here that it's kind of a brush it under the rug type of family situation,
Mhm.
and they weren't supportive of her. Is that correct?
Yeah, some of my family, like her sisters, I think are, but I don't know what. I mean, they are publicly. I don't know, but my grandfather. Well, for one, when I originally put my statement on the internet, Donald called my grandfather, and mind you, he is 83 years old and has Alzheimer's, and he's a great man. He's wonderful. He's one of the only men in my whole life that I trusted growing up. But
Aw, I'm sorry
um,
that you're dealing with the Alzheimer's. I've
it's okay.
personally dealt with that and with family members, lost a family member, and it's extremely difficult, very hard situation to go through with all of the changes. So, prayers for you and your family with your grandfather.
Thank you. Yeah, it's rough. But Donnie called. So after I had made my statements, Donnie called my grandfather and told him what I had said, and my grandfather said um, that I was kicked out of the family and he never wanted to see me again. And I said okay because I mean I'm not doing it. A lot of people think that we did this for attention or like our 15 minutes of fame, and that is not it at all. I did it because people need to know what I mean. His older children went through. I witnessed horrible, horrible things throughout their childhood, and um, I I feel like it's relevant, completely relevant to the case. And I don't know. I'm 100% unbiased on whether either parent had anything to do with summer parents. I have no idea. Um, I cut Donnie out of my life a long time ago,
Mhm.
but I felt like it needed that she needed an advocate and that I needed to speak up for her, and so I did. And then when my mom posted everything yesterday, um, he called my grandpa again, and um, my grandpa is confused
Yeah.
and hurt, and he said she's kicked out of the family, and he'll get over it. I know he will, but when you're first coming out as a victim, to not have the support, especially from your parent, is extremely, extremely difficult.
So, your grandfather has Alzheimer's, correct?
Yes.
Um, I can say, dealing with that and having experience also, I worked with Alzheimer's and dementia patients as well throughout the course of my career. And so my advice, well, it's already been done. If he's already gotten a phone call, I think it's very inappropriate and it speaks volumes that he would pick up the phone and call an 85-year-old man with Alzheimer's to tell
Hmm.
him anything. You don't
I
want to
agree.
try to upset people who have dementia or Alzheimer's. That's a very uh, dangerous thing to do. It can
Hmm.
actually it can actually trigger a response in them that they might not come back from. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
in their mind, but it could also he might not even remember tomorrow. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
So if
exactly.
it's traumatic for him, and if it, see, I don't know anything about his, medical, but
Mhm.
I will just say this. First and foremost, your grandfather is a man. You're a woman. Your mother is a woman. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying that men don't understand, but you need to know, and your mom needs to know, that there is no shame in telling what happened. There is no shame in speaking out. There's absolutely no shame in what was done to your mom at all. It was not her
Mhm.
fault. And I would take that statement that you're not a part of the family with a grain of salt. I don't think that he means it.
Right.
I
I
think
don't
that
think so either. He's just upset.
yeah. So everyone's probably going to have to go through the motions and work through it. But at the end of the day, um, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, not a family member, not a friend. It doesn't at all. And my
Yeah.
opinion is, if speaking out about this type of abuse that happened in your life leads a family member to say, you are not welcome in this family anymore, that speaks very highly to the pattern and cycle of abuse. And you and your mother have broken that cycle. You spoke. She spoke and broke the cycle. And I
Yeah,
can
I
tell
agree.
from you being vocal, she did an amazing job with you.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry. I'm sure, as a daughter, I don't know. I am a survivor of sexual assault, but I
Mhm.
don't have a mom who was. So I can't imagine having to support my mom through something like that. I commend you for being there for her and for being so strong, for being a voice and helping her with this situation. That's a beautiful thing. Are you and your mom must be close?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm the oldest of five. We're
Oh,
definitely very close. She's my best friend.
so I don't want to pry or ask too many questions because I don't want to be intrusive. But may
You're
I
okay.
ask, did your mom ever speak about this until now, or was it just now that this happened that she told people? I know they had said she had told family when it happened,
Mhm.
but was it never discussed again? And then it came to the forefront again, or?
So when she was younger, she told her mom, and my grandma believed her, and talked to my grandpa, and my grandpa said something along the lines of, "What did he do? Touch your boob?" And then it was just kind of nothing was ever done after that. And then I'm not sure if she told any of her sisters, because I haven't actually asked, but she did tell me. I mean, I've known for several years, probably from the time I was like 14 or 15. Um, I know about it, and of course, like my one of my other sisters and my dad knew about it. But other than that, it was after she had told my grandparents, it was just kind of pushed under the rug. And I think, I mean, I can't speak for her obviously because I don't know 100%, but I know for me, when some stuff, things happened to me when I was like 4 or 5, and I told, and the only person that believed me was my mom, and so I never told anybody anything that happened to me ever again because no one believed me and nothing was done. So what's the point? And so I would assume that that's kind of why she just held on to it. But um, that growing up and stuff, she said and I apologize for anyone listening that,
Don't
um,
apologize.
well, just I don't want to trigger anybody, but she had said you read in the thing where she had said, that he would take her on motorcycle rides, and at one point she had told me that he tried to take some of her younger cousins, and she would always say no and wouldn't let them go, and she would go in their place because she knew what was going to happen. And so even at 5, 6, 7 years old, she obviously knew. I mean, we all know when it's happening that it's wrong. That whatever's happening isn't right. But even then, she was protecting.
She was protecting the younger cousins, and she was
other family members. Yeah, other family members.
So
and
she would go in place of them to take the abuse, so they didn't.
Yeah.
How old were these younger cousins, did she say?
I'm not entirely sure. I know some of the cousins. They weren't much younger than her, I don't think. Probably.
How old was she? Do you know?
So, for her, the abuse started when she was 4,
Oh
and
my God.
went on until she was 10, and it only stopped then because he went to prison the first time. But she's the youngest of all 9 siblings, so all of her sisters had kids, and she would babysit them and stuff. But I don't know. The cousins are, in between, just a few years younger than her, and I'm not entirely sure how young they are. But I believe they're just a few years younger than her. But when that would happen, she was probably around 7 or 8. And when he would always try to get them to go on motorcycle rides, and she would always stand up and say, no, I'm going. And they would always be upset with her, but they didn't understand that she was trying to protect them and shield them from the abuse.
How do you know how old he was at the time?
I don't. I think he's 53 now, and she's, or no, is he 63? I'm not sure. He's one of the oldest of the siblings. I think there's like a 10-year difference.
So a 10-year difference around.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how old he is.
Okay. I believe that he is. Does anybody know Don's exact age?
There might be about there might be like a 15-year difference, actually. I think he's in his 60s, but I'm not 100% sure.
I believe he's 62 or 6. I'm gonna check right now so I know.
Okay.
But okay, so when you heard about, so have you ever met the Wells family? Have you ever met Summer or the boys, or have you guys ever come in contact with them? Ever been to a family event or dinner, anything, family reunion or anything like that? Or has your mom stayed away completely?
So the majority of my family lives in Utah, and he moved back to Tennessee when his biological mom got sick. He moved back. I think it's been about 13 years, I want to say. He moved back and met Candace. None of us have met Candace, and in March he came down to Utah, and he brought I think it's his oldest boy, Josie. He brought him with him, and we got to meet him, but we haven't met any of the other kids. And we knew that him and Candace had 5 children, but we didn't know that he even had a daughter.
They have 5?
Yeah, it's my understanding that, and I'm not 100% sure, but it's my understanding that they had one after summer and gave her up for adoption. That's what I've been told by my grandma.
Okay, that's the first I've heard of this. Okay.
And I don't know if that child was a boy or girl, but I thought he had all boys. I didn't even know. I
Yeah.
didn't even know about Summer, and in fact, I only found out because one of my cousins had posted that she was missing, and I messaged her and asked whose child it was, and she told me, and that's the only way I even found out. And I joined that group, which was I think it's like Prayers for Summer or something, the one that the True Crime Sisters do, and I joined that group, and people were saying that my grandfather was a sexual predator, and they were saying all of this is really awful things about my grandpa. And I actually originally only commented because I wanted to clear the air. I don't want his name getting run through the mud because my grandpa didn't do anything. He was a wonderful man. He's been in the military. He does not have a criminal history at all whatsoever. He would never hurt a child, especially sexually assault one. Um, he's grouchy and he's old, but he's not in any way abusive as far as, like sexually abusive or anything like that. And so to read these comments that these people were saying was just killing me because I love my grandpa. I mean, I was at their house all of the time growing up. Like 80% of my time was spent at their house. And I grew up with Donnie's son, who is my age. He is on the sex offender registry, and I grew up with him. We were best friends growing up, and I watched him go through so much trauma and so much stuff in his life, and his sister too. Um, she's just a couple of years younger than us, and the things that I witnessed them go through is completely unforgivable. And every time, honestly, I mean, every single time I watch an interview with Don or anything, it just like my stomach hurts.
Yeah.
Because every single time I see him or hear his voice, it just brings back all of those memories and the things that his poor kids went through. I don't know how they even stay in contact with him, because if it were me, I wouldn't. But we all deal with our traumas in our own ways. So.
Right. And you said your mom's having a really difficult time right now.
She is, yeah.
Yeah. Does she have support outside of you? Has she gotten in touch with anybody like a therapist or a counselor? I know that it's very difficult for women who have suppressed all of this throughout the years. Wondering if she's ever had any kind, and it's not my business. You don't have to answer any of my questions. And if I cross the line,
You're
for
okay.
me, I don't want to pry. I really don't.
You're fine.
Is she going to get in touch with someone to have kind of emotional support, because this is a really traumatic thing, and I'm sure it's going to, she's probably going to relive a lot of this, and I just want to make sure that she's taking care of her heart and she's protecting her energy and just her physical being. This can be extremely even dangerous at times for women who come out and break a silence, and then they're broken down by other people. There's a lot of support and love here for her in the chat and for you. People are proud of you. They're all saying beautiful things, and I appreciate you coming up here to speak about this. I hope you know how important it is for Summer, because we don't know what happened to her. We don't know what happened leading up to her disappearance. We don't know anything except for what we've seen. And there are some pictures, actually quite a few pictures, where it looks like she's standing in a very self-protective way. And I have always wondered, is something, has something going on. And that's just
Right.
me as a survivor myself looking at these pictures took my breath away.
Mhm.
There was one in particular that really, really upset me. Uh, Nobody has been sharing that photo, thankfully. I talked about this last night. I haven't seen it posted anywhere, and I hope nobody will. Uh, it's just heartbreaking to see these photos of Summer. Some of them tell a story. Her eyes are
Mhm.
very sad. The look on her face. I just so knowing that now, let me be clear, and this is no offense to you, and I just have to say it for the sake of uh, being responsible as a creator.
Mhm.
She's up here speaking on behalf of her mom. Her mom has come out, if you're just getting caught up, her mom has come out and spoke about previous abuse in her childhood from her brother, who is DW. We'll refer to him as DW. And this is just recent, right? About several days ago, she spoke about this.
Yeah, it
And
was yesterday.
yesterday, so yesterday morning, correct?
I'm pretty sure yesterday.
Yeah, it was early. So you're welcome, you guys. Everybody throw up some prayer hands and some love for Trish and her mom. This is really important and heavy stuff. It's very heartbreaking. And yes, Killer Crimes, thank you. Can we put some hearts in the chat for this amazing lady? So, do you know if your mom had any concerns about this being a possibility with Summer? Has she spoken about that with you? Anything that she would be okay with you saying? I don't want you to say anything she wouldn't be okay with you saying.
No, you're totally fine. So like I said, she didn't even know about Summer either until she went missing. And like I said, we knew that he had children, but we thought that they were all boys. And um, they he keeps in contact with my grandpa, which is his biological father, but my grandma is his stepmom, and so um, he doesn't. I don't know. We don't really discuss him or talk about him or things like that. My grandparents will say, "Oh yeah, Donnie had a kid" or whatever, but it's not like a general topic of discussion. Me personally and my mom don't talk about him or bring him up because of the past. But um, so we didn't know that he even had a daughter. But um, after we found out that he had a daughter and that she was missing and all of that, we've discussed it and stuff. And I mean, I personally, neither of us really know. I mean, I personally feel that once you do something like that to a child, you never stop. But I can't say, 100% for certain that I think he did or didn't do anything to her. Um, it definitely isn't a doubt in my mind that he did, but like I said, I can't 100% speak for whether he did or didn't because I haven't met her. I wasn't there. The pictures, some of the pictures, like you said, do show quite a bit of um, body language, that I'm familiar with, and probably other victims or survivors are
Right.
familiar with as well. Um, you know, we've all probably have a few pictures, that are in similar stances or different things, but um, yeah, neither me and my mom try to remain unbiased because we don't know what happened, and both of us
Right.
are very much like people can be rehabilitated. It's 100%. It can be. Some people can be rehabilitated. People get off drugs all the time. People, you know, do stuff all the time. But um, from what I've seen, and he was here in March and things like that. And from what I've seen, just through interviews and things like that, he hasn't changed at all. he's the same person that I grew up knowing, and so for that he hasn't, in my opinion, my mom's, I mean, from what we've talked, he hasn't changed. I can't say, obviously 100% for her because,
Right.
it's just what we've talked about, but
So all right, you saw him in March. Can you explain, and if you don't want to answer, like I said, any of the questions I ask, if you're not comfortable, you can just say so and I'll move on. When you're watching on
Mhm.
TV and when he's speaking and when you're listening to the interviews, what goes through your mind? What is your impression? What do you see in these interviews that you don't see in a real life situation, or vice versa? So, is he acting like the Don you know? Is he acting different? Maybe some insight on what do you know of him, and what is he maybe displaying and showing that you've never seen before, etc.
so he acts pretty much the same when
Okay.
he's doing an interview. I don't know if you saw they did a thing with 4 panelists, and they went over like his and his wife's body
Can you say
language.
that one
And
more time, hun? I think
sorry,
are you on earbuds?
I am. Are they not working very
That's
good?
that's much better. Yeah, no. When you move
Okay.
around naturally, it picks up like the pressing against your shirt and stuff like that. Pain in the butt. It's fine.
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted to make sure you had it.
No,
Okay,
you're
there you go.
fine. I am on earbuds. I apologize.
That's perfect.
Um, okay. So so from the interviews and stuff, he seems like the same person to me. I mean, um, like, I don't know, every time he would get out of prison, because he was in and out of prison my entire life. But he would always get out of prison and he would always say, "Oh, I found God." And, you know, um, he would always kind of use that as a shield, I feel like. Um, and like I said, I don't know. He could be reformed. I don't know. I can't speak on that, whether he is or isn't. But from my experience, he's the same person that he always was. And he acts pretty much the same in an interview that he does around people. He he often is kind of uncomfortable around people in general. I don't know if it's just because of how much of his life he spent in prison and on drugs and things like that. But he's always kind of been he's always like kind of used religion as a crutch and things like that. I do feel like a lot of things are kind of odd in the interviews when they ask questions and he responds with weird things like that he believes in the resurrection or different things like that. I think that those are kind of odd, but I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's different from his normal behavior. I feel like maybe he just doesn't know what to say, and so he kind of uses that as like a bridge between I'm not really sure, but he acts basically the same in the interviews as he does in real life. I do know in a few of the interviews that me and my family had seen, we had discussed thinking that maybe he was um, under the influence of, I'm not sure, alcohol or something, or possibly drugs. And then in some of the other ones, he seems a little bit more clear-headed. And um, I think that in the interviews, he is a lot more calm than he normally is um, in real life, because
You he's
I
toned
mean, he
down.
used to have a temper.
Like in interviews, he's calmer. So that's something you notice,
Mhm.
that he's much more calm than he is in real life. Can you
Yeah,
explain by that?
well,
What
just in real life, like in real life, he was always like a little bit more, like kind of, he can get kind of passionate, I guess is what you'd call it, in his
Mhm.
in his words and things like that. he's very much like, oh, this is how things should be done, and I know how to do it, and I'll get it done. And it needs to go this way. And like for instance, he was refinishing my grandparents' living room when I was younger. I was like, I don't know, probably 15 or something at the time. It's been a while. But he was refinishing the living room, and he wouldn't take anyone's advice or input on how it should be. And he got halfway done with it, and then he went on a binge and ended up back in jail. But he was very insistent on how it should look and how it should be. And he's very kind of like my way or the highway type of thing.
Okay.
And I feel like in the interviews, he's, like pretty level headed and calm. There is one interview, I think it was just a few days out past Summer's disappearance, and he is a little bit more agitated than he was in previous interviews. And
Do you mean
I
the
think
last
that,
one with Candace?
no, it wasn't that one. It's just him, and he was talking about, I don't remember the entire video, but at one point he had said that the police were all over and people were searching, and the boys had been arguing and things were getting kind of heated at home. And I could just see that he was getting agitated pretty quickly. And I mean, honestly, I can't say that I wouldn't be the same, because your daughter's missing, and you're in a house with all your kids, and everybody's wondering or where she's at, or maybe they know, I don't know. But he was definitely more agitated in that video, and that was a little bit more of his personality coming out than in the other ones. I feel like in a lot of the other ones, he's just really more reserved and calm than he is in normal life.
So what kind of message does that signal to you when you're watching the calmness? Do you find it to be a little bit off-putting? Do you find it to be out of the ordinary? Like, does it give you a certain feeling? How do you feel about it?
I wouldn't really say that it's off-putting. I think that it's just kind of his way of dealing with public in general.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, I think that just because of, his past and things like that, I think he just kind of prepped himself for them, which is fine. I mean, I don't necessarily think that it's like a red flag. But I don't know, because I'm not like a
Right.
perfect reader or anything, but I don't feel like it's like a super red flag. I feel like he just maybe prepped himself a little bit, or just tries to remain calm because of the situation. I mean, you don't want to, obviously, whether he did or didn't have anything to do with it, you wouldn't want to bring alarm to yourself. I think he knows that. So I think he just keeps a calm demeanor,
Well,
as much as he can. I think that if they did a random interview in the middle of the day when all the kids are crazy and stuff, it would be more of his normal personality. But
well, you know what? Naturally, if I was going to go in front of camera in front of the whole world, and my child was missing, God forbid, um, I don't know how I would keep so calm. I don't know how I would be so mm, emotionless. It's
mhm.
very strange. Have you ever seen him get emotional about anything, or has your mom ever talked about him getting maybe having a temper or um,
I've I the only really emotion that I've ever witnessed from him is angry.
angry?
Um, yeah, I haven't. I mean, he's either my entire life he was either on drugs and sitting on the couch calm, or angry. I don't ever remember, a time when he was just normal, like a normal dad should be, or a normal uncle should be. He was just always, I don't, sorry, I'm sorry. It's just when I think about it, and every time he would get out of jail and he'd get on drugs, and the look on his face was so awful. I hated it. And like I said, his kids were always, his two older kids were always dirty, and they always had lice, and they always,
Did have a
they would come,
problem.
sorry, go ahead.
They did have a lice problem.
Oh yeah, always. Like, we actually, me and my sisters actually got lice from them several times because they would come back to Utah. They moved all the time, but they would come back to Utah, and my cousin was my best friend. So we were constantly, as soon as they would be back, we were at the hip the entire time. Um and so we actually got lice from them before as well. And they did shave their heads to prevent lice and stuff like that as well. And I think that's why, I don't know, I know that they said otherwise, but I think that's why they shaved Summer's head. But like
Okay,
I said, I'm not sure.
talk about that. So, do you think that the shaving of was due to lice, or do you think it was what Candace said, that she wanted to look like her and the boys, or do you think that it was because of what Don said? So there was three different stories about, and the lice never came from Candace and Don. The lice story
Mhm.
came from people in groups and speculation and such. But I remember Candace had said in her interview that Summer wanted to look like mom and the boys, but Don
Mhm.
said that Summer had done it first, and that mom shaved her head to make her feel better.
Right. I did see that.
Yeah.
I personally don't know 100%, but they did, with the older kids, they did shave their heads to prevent lice. There was a video, or I mean, sorry, a picture, and Summer's head was like half shaved. It kind of looked like, um, I don't know, it's the style now, but it's just like where it kind of looked almost like a mohawk style. So it's definitely possible that
Hmm.
that she wanted it shaved, but in my experience, it was, I mean, I speculated that it was because they had gotten lice.
Okay.
Because that's how they kind of dealt with it back when we were younger. But um one particular, and this has nothing to do with the lice, but one particular memory that has always stuck with me and always will is from me and my cousin. I want to say we were probably like 8-ish, and we went to work with my grandpa. My grandpa drove truck, and we went to work with him. And he would drive like to California and stuff. It was several hours. And we were with him anyways. And I started getting hungry. And so I said to my grandpa, can we stop somewhere and get some food? Because I'm hungry. And my cousin turned to me and said, and I will never ever forget this, but he turned to me and said, you don't know what hungry is. I've gone 3 days without food before. We were like 8. And I remember like holding it together
Hmm.
and trying not to just break down right there because, you know, well, obviously that's like a difficult thing, but I just, there were so many things that went on in their childhood, like I said, and I don't even know how. I would never talk to my parents again if I went through that. And his, there is, I had stated on there too about when he tried to sell his children.
Hmm.
Um, and that did happen. It was 100% it happened. I was at my grandparents' after it happened, and they all, so his wife and the 2 kids and him came to my grandparents' house, and he said his wife was telling my grandma that he was on something, that Don was on something, and he um, gave his children gave the 2 kids to his drug dealer or someone. And she said, luckily, she stepped in and grabbed them and brought them home. And the worst part about it, I feel like, is the fact that both of the kids they just acted like it was normal. Like, oh yeah, that happened. So what? No big deal. I mean, we were young, but if my parents did that to me, I would have been hysterical, and they weren't. They were just, it was almost like it was normal everyday life for them. And I remember Dawn laughing about it. Yeah, haha, trying to kind of laugh it off. It wasn't a serious thing, but if their mom would have been there, they would be who knows where.
You are like, you're an amazing speaker, hon, for coming up here. A lot of people, I don't know if you can see the chat. Karen Burns says people don't understand what's going on. She is so brave for telling us. You are brave for telling us, and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you. And I know that it takes a lot for you to get up here and discuss this on behalf of your mom. Bless your heart, seriously, because she's very lucky to have you for a daughter, number
Thank
one.
you.
And I appreciate you being so open with us. This is a great group of people. We really care about Summer. We care about what happened to your mom or any other woman who has been victimized or violated, allegedly, by this man. I think that it's absolutely relevant in this scenario,
Hmm.
and it needs to be noted. So, if only here, you said your mom called TBI, right?
She did, yeah. She did tell them her story, and
Okay.
I know one of the other victims had come forward and told her story as well.
Oh my God.
Um,
So two people have reached out to them.
hmm, there's
Thank God.
the one I know she never will.
Okay.
But the other one we don't keep in contact with. She was one of my mom's friends, and they're not in contact any longer. So
Okay.
I'm not sure
So
about that, but
there's a third person who will never speak out.
she definitely will never. I don't think she'll ever speak out ever.
Okay. I understand.
I
Um,
did see in the chat somewhere that someone said that if you shave their head, it doesn't get rid of the lice. And you're right, they do still lay bugs and lay eggs, but it's a lot easier to sweep lice out of shaved hair than it is a thick, full lock.
yeah. I've never experienced lice for some reason. Thank God they don't like me, apparently, because I never got them in school, and I never had any problems with my child or anything like that. Of course, he's pretty grown now, but never had to deal with lice. And the only time I ever dealt with lice was when I was working in a hospital. So, and I didn't catch them, thankfully. But so
That's amazing.
yeah, thank God. I would probably really lose it if I got them. But has your mom ever met Summer? Do you know?
No, the only one of his younger children that she's met is Josie, which is, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the oldest boy.
The oldest.
Um,
So
and
Don
we
seems
just met him
go ahead.
briefly.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we just met him briefly when he came down in March, and he was here for I don't remember the exact amount of time he was here, but he wasn't here very long, and it was just him and Josie. And he said that they were gonna try to move back, but um, I don't know. The whole thing was just weird. I feel like when he came down, but yeah, I met Josie briefly, and then my mom had went over to there and she met him briefly as well. But we haven't met any of the other children or his wife Candace either.
So he's never brought Candace or the other two sons or Summer around, just J. Okay.
Correct.
So can I ask you what your impression was when you saw him standing with his son on the news, or what your mom
Um,
thought about, or
I haven't actually really talked to my mom about that
no?
particular thing. We just mostly talk about the interview in general, but personally, I feel like he kind of is just using him as a, um, I don't know if support is the right word, but just because, like I said, I think that he just gets nervous probably talking in front of people. And so I think he's kind of just using his son as like a crutch, like, oh, I have my son here. And so it probably just helped to make him feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm not really sure. I did notice in a couple of the things he was like squeezing his arm, but I mean, you can't really tell from the video, so I'm not sure whether he was doing it because he was trying to comfort him or if he was trying to prevent him from talking. I honestly am not sure.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys understand that she doesn't live close. You guys don't live close at all, right? You live in, or well, don't say where you live because you don't want to, put your information out there. But you're in a different state entirely. And
Yeah, we're 36 hours away.
okay, so this is a very long distance family. Um, but your mom grew up with him and
Mhm.
has alleged that he's done, these things to her,
Correct.
and other children that he had tried to. She shielded them and protected them from what Trish has said, and she would go in the place of the other children and the other cousins.
Mhm.
I can't imagine. I really cannot imagine. But like I said, my heart goes out to you, your mom, anyone who has been violated or victimized. I try to be careful with my words, but I am very concerned that Summer may have possibly been abused in that way. And your mom coming forward, and you coming forward on behalf of to speak for her, has really opened a lot of people's eyes. And I think that this is very credible. I would not even allow her to be up here if I did not uh, believe in this credibility factor here. I know that she's matching up exactly with her, she is who she says she is. So now, with that being said, this is a family who's got issues that have gone on.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not saying that about you because you have an entirely different immediate family. So you're
Oh
not,
yeah.
she's not living over there in that house. They're not going to Sunday dinner together. But they have had contact in the past and through family matters and such. But can I ask you what your gut feeling is? Do you have any kind of intuition about this? Do you have any kind of thoughts about what's going on? What is your gut telling you? And maybe even what your mom might be feeling.
um Honestly, I personally think that I don't know whether the parents had anything to do with it. If
Right.
they
None
did,
of us.
I obviously wouldn't be surprised, but I personally don't think that she's alive. And it breaks my heart to say that. We pray, me and my family, my aunts, my cousins, we all pray every single day. And we hope that she has a safe return, but in my opinion, I don't think that she will. I don't think that um I just personally don't think that she's alive, or um I don't know that she's been super close. I have a feeling that she's probably uh, within a certain radius, not too far off from her home, but I don't think that she will make it back alive, to be honest.
I think a lot of people have that same feeling and share that with you. I think that at this point, the likelihood, okay, so if she was abducted by a stranger, I do believe there is hope that she could still be alive. But if
Mhm.
this was foul play at the hands of the people that were supposed to protect her, I do not believe that she is alive.
I
So
agree.
I have to take that all of that into account, right? We all do. Could this possibly have been an abduction? Could it have been, excuse me, someone from the church? Could it have been a neighbor, someone passing through, etc.? Or could something else have happened in the family?
Mhm.
And it
Well,
seems
and
like
it's
there's, go ahead.
sorry, it's my understanding that their driveway is very long. I've never been there, so
Mhm.
I don't know, but I have seen pictures and stuff. It's my understanding that their driveway is very long. They also have several dogs.
Right.
I have a dog, and if anyone even pulls in the driveway, he freaks out. So I think that it's kind of odd that they say someone ran up and grabbed her because my dog would freak. I mean,
Hmm.
he doesn't. And any dogs that I know, aren't just going to let a stranger come up and snatch someone, especially, one of their kids. I mean,
Right.
personally, that's just how I feel. Um,
Yeah, the likelihood is
and
very slim.
right, and not saying that the parents had anything to do with it, but
Mhm.
someone that she knows or that those dogs know very well, it if she did get kidnapped and that was the case, I feel like that's the only way that that's even possible, is that she knew the person and she went with them willingly, and
I
or the
have a
dogs
very
knew the
strong
person or
feeling
whatever.
also that it was someone she knew and trusted.
Mhm.
I sense that a lot. Um, so I'm gonna bring up, actually, if you don't mind, I like to bring up a picture of the house really quick because I
Okay.
want to point something out, and I don't think it's been mentioned, but I think it's important to note. Let me see if I can find. Okay, so let me pull this up. So let's look at this picture really quickly of the house from an aerial view. We have, alrighty, I'm gonna bring this up. Let me unpin my comment here. Do you have a few minutes to stay, Hunt?
Yeah, you're totally fine.
Okay. Okay. So this is the property. And as you can see, there's a driveway that comes up through here and around here. So um, Summer, if I'm correct, her swing would have been right about here. Because when the parents were sitting here, they took a picture, actually. Let me see if I can send it. I want to show you guys. Candace had mentioned the swing. I thought that was interesting. And the swing was sitting, where's my phone? All right, first let's say this, okay? So let's say someone was around the area and walked up this driveway or drove up this driveway and walked into the door over here. So
Mhm.
the basement door is on the right hand side of the house or on the back. So you come around this circle and the back door is over here, right over
Mhm.
here. You see the circle here, the camper's over here, the back door is along the back of the house, and where John and Candace were sitting in their interview is right here on this side of the house. And right over here on the side of the camper, the trailer, is where Summer was dancing in the rain. Now,
Mhm.
Don parks his truck over here behind that tree. If you guys my screen, I hope. Okay.
Mhm.
Now let's think about this logically. If someone was to drive up driveway and snatch her, how are they getting out? Are they backing all the way down the driveway or do they have to circle all the way around? Because to me, it looks like, and from what I've seen, there was a woman that had gone there and taken pictures. AB was talking
Mhm.
about her earlier, the GoFundMe lady. And she
Mhm.
posted she couldn't get up the driveway. She would bottom out if she even tried to get up it. So apparently, this is a difficult driveway to get into. And then if you come up through here or through here, they would have had to completely back down or turn around using the grass or whatever. I'm sure that they've checked all that out, the police.
Right. Definitely.
But my point is, even coming from this side, they would have to circle around to leave,
Mhm.
or they'd have to back down. And with these dogs, they were barking during the interview at reporters that were already there. So, what sense does that make? Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's
Exactly.
a little
No, I
bit,
agree completely.
yeah. And if someone was to walk up, okay, I don't think they'd be walking up from over here
Mhm.
because they'd have to cut through the grass straight across, or they'd be in
Mhm.
the middle of the back door. So we would say, okay, let's say a person came up this side. I believe this is where the bus is parked. If they came up this side, grandma and mom are over here planting flowers. And I believe there's quite a visual through here. If you're standing on ground level, you can
Mhm.
see straight through this area. Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's completely open there. I mean,
Right.
if anyone were to even come up in any angle, they would have had to come through the trees, and then the distance
Exactly.
between the trees and the open space is huge. Someone would have seen them.
I agree with you.
That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm sure my family's gonna see this and they're all gonna freak out, but that's my opinion. I
No,
don't,
you've been very respectful. You haven't said anything that I even thought was out of line. If your family does see this and they're upset about it, um, I will remove it. If there's any kind,
okay.
I don't want to because this is a really important live. There's things that we covered earlier on, but I'll leave
Mhm.
you my email, and if you need anything from me, you just let me know, okay? Um,
Okay.
I think that, hold on, let me get this picture down because I just wanted to bring that up really quick and I could talk about that later. But again, like I said before, you coming up here could give someone else hope. And what your mom did and coming forward could give somebody hope, even if it's just one person. She may
Mhm.
actually encourage, and you, another woman who's endured abuse, to come forward or to speak out for their own child or their own niece or their own cousin. Now, your mom was a step sister to Don, correct?
Correct.
And she never has met Summer,
Correct.
and she came out to protect this baby. That says a lot about your mom.
My
It
mom
really
is,
does.
she's amazing. She's been through more than in her childhood, more than any person should ever have to endure, even a small portion of her childhood. And she is truly amazing. I'm truly proud of her. And I'm definitely glad that she had the courage to actually come out and talk because it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life as a survivor. And I think that it's definitely a step forward for her in her recovery and to just to get it out there and things like that. And even if I mean that we both appreciate all of the support that it's been insane the amount of support that we've received, and we appreciate all of that. We just honestly, I hope that by either of us coming forward, that maybe someone um, will come forward involving Summer, or even just in their own lives. Like, don't hide behind, people that want you to hide, because
Right.
it's just not fair. No one should have to live with that. No one should have to deal with that in their lives. And I'm a huge advocate for, sexual abuse survivors. And I mean, like I said, it's one of the hardest things that you'll ever do as a survivor, is to tell your story and tell your truth. And the hardest part about it is when people don't believe you, and they question you, and they ask stupid questions like, why you never told. Um, and then people start to, like, share your story that you don't it I've always felt like, it's my story to tell, and if I'm going to put it out there, then I want to be the one to tell it. I don't want,
Right.
Susie telling it or whatever.
Hmm.
And there's a difference between, what you did by reading it and things like that. And obviously it was put on her story was put on social media, so it's obviously very public. Um but it's definitely a very kind of private thing that you go through. And I feel like if it can even help one person come out and tell their story, or even if a teenager or a child sees it and they tell their story, like, just keep telling people until someone believes you, because someone will eventually believe you and eventually help you. And it might take 10 people, but it's worth it. And just don't ever stop telling, your truth, because when you stop telling it is when the cycle just continues. And my entire life, I've been, kind of an advocate for sexual abuse survivors, and I refuse to let my own kids be subject to that. I'm really very protective
Hmm.
and open with
You're
them
a
about
mom.
things because of that. Yeah,
You're a
I
mom.
have
You have kids. Yeah.
I am. I have two kids, and one on the way. So
Oh, congratulations.
thank you. We're
Aw,
counting down the days.
are you?
We are.
Wow.
She'll be here at the end of the month, but yeah, we definitely. And I agree, Derek. Babies don't lie. Kids don't lie. They don't. There's no kid. I'm sorry, but if a kid tells you that something is happening, believe them
That's
always, because 99.9% of the time it happens and they're telling the truth. Kids, if a child has the courage to speak up and tell you that something is going on, believe them 100%.
absolutely. You always believe the children. Always. Don't
Yep.
ever, people, you've got to keep an open line of communication with your kids. You've got to be
Mhm.
careful with who you've got around your kids. You cannot
Mhm.
be letting whatever guy you're dating take your kids, bathe your kids. Stop letting these people you don't know around your children. You have no idea who someone is. Some people could live with somebody for 40 years and never ever know who they are. Do you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You just really never know. And I'm so sorry that this happened in your family. And I hope that you know, and that your mom knows. And I want to stress this again, because I know that there will be judgmental people, or people like you just said, who are going to ask, why did you wait so long? Nobody could ever understand what it takes to come forward. And
Mhm.
unless you have a huge support system surrounding you, that's going to be really hard to do, especially when you've got family members telling you um, you'll be admonished from this family. Um, we You're no longer part of our family. Things like that, not acceptable. Just not
Yeah,
acceptable.
I
And
agree.
no woman or man, because assault happens to men too,
Mhm.
should ever be made to feel that they've done something wrong because they were violated. And I hope that your mom knows what she's doing for Summer is probably the most beautiful thing I've seen yet with this
I
case
agree.
outside of the searchers and the humanity that we've seen. I'm not saying that. What I mean is, um, I'll just give my opinion. Candace and Don are not pleading for their child's safe return. They're very mellow, very calm, relaxed, almost as if they're just hanging out on a Sunday afternoon in the yard. Um,
It's like they
your
lost a dog. My
yeah,
dog ran away. I
your
agree completely. I would be a hysterical mess.
yeah, your mom has done the most beautiful thing that she could possibly do for this baby girl, because there may be something more here. And with
Mhm.
the behavior and the patterns of younger children in the family, such as sisters, cousins, like you've stated, and I have to
Mhm.
say, as a disclaimer, if that is true, I don't doubt you, just so you know, at all. I
No,
believe
you're okay.
I believe your mother.
You're
Um,
okay.
with the patterns of the predatory behavior on children young, 4 to 10 years old, this is a really, really big deal.
Definitely.
And I cannot thank you enough for coming out and speaking about this, and on Summer's behalf, even. So we can all get a better idea of what's really going on. I know a lot of rumors were flying before. We didn't
Mhm.
know what was true and what was untrue. But I
Mhm.
think a lot more clarity has been brought to this situation. And your mom coming forward is a selfless act. And if
Yeah.
it's something that she hasn't discussed during and throughout her life, her adulthood, and this brought this out, I imagine she's probably reliving a lot of trauma and a lot of really horrible memories. So please, you guys, send up some beautiful thoughts for her. Whether you're washing dishes or whatever, just think of her and pray for her. Pray for Trish here, her daughter, because this is a hard situation. Um, I just commend the both of for doing this and for speaking out, because we haven't seen any family members come out in support of them. We haven't seen any neighbors, friends saying, "Oh no, they were just here last weekend. We were at a barbecue and um Candace was running around in the yard with the kids and playing catch or whatever." There's nothing coming out. There's no stories about, not saying that they don't love their children. I Please don't get me wrong, but where are all the people speaking up? All we have is some guy from church who just moved to the area
Mhm.
like a couple months ago from
Right.
this.
I
How do you,
agree completely, and I think that that speaks volumes, to be honest.
and it's
Especially because they've lived in the area so long. I mean, I don't know my neighbors all that well, but I know that they wouldn't have negative things to say,
Mhm.
you know. Um, but yeah, I personally think that that speaks volumes in all aspects, the type of characters they are and different things like that.
Hun, I hope that, listen, protect your inner line. Don't, or is anybody bothering you? Or have you gotten any,
Um, I haven't got people. I get like friend requests on Facebook all the time, like constantly, and people message me, but no one has. I'm very grateful. No one has been negative.
okay.
Like no one has private messaged me and been negative or anything. There have been some people, that say, well, it's all hearsay or speculation, and I completely understand that. I mean, um, it is all hearsay and speculation, and I mean, it is our truth and it is what we lived through, but unless you were there, you don't know. So, I completely understand why people sometimes will doubt that and different things like that. There is one thing though, if anyone is part of
the group that we originally shared on, she is actually the girl that runs the True Crime Sisters is getting quite a bit of backlash, and people are messaging her and saying that she is exploiting women and things like that. And I want everyone to know that she in no way asked anything of us. She has been nothing but amazing to me and my mother. Went to her. My mom was the one that went to her and said, "I want to share my story." She in no way came in, asked us to share it or anything like that. She hasn't at all been persuasive, and we have had people that have messaged both of us, and they get upset because we tell them we don't want our story. We want to kind of try to remain a little bit private to some degree just because of the backlash that we have already received from our own family. But she in no way, the girl that runs the True Crime Sisters, in no way she didn't persuade us. She didn't ask anything. We went to her because we felt we could trust her with her stories, and that she would portray them appropriately. And so, if
Yeah,
I agree, and if anyone, just please don't think that she exploited us in any way, because she didn't. And she actually feels really bad that people think that. So.
Oh, okay. So we're clearing that up right here and right now. True Crime Sisters did a favor to Trish's mom, and
Mhm.
it is in no way, shape, or form exploiting her situation. She wanted to get this message out for summer.
Mhm.
Okay, we have
Exactly.
a missing 5-year-old child. It's very important. A lot of things are going on here. So this woman said, you know what? I need to do this for this little girl. It's not for her. It's not even for her. Think of how beautiful of a person she must really be to come forward and speak out like this in front of everyone, knowing and seeing how many people have taken to this case, how many people absolutely adore Summer and fallen in love with her. And I mean, when you watch the chats, you can feel it, you can see it, and you know it.
Mhm.
Your
Yeah,
mom
I agree.
is
And
an angel to Summer for speaking out, and that's my feeling on it. So True Crime Sisters did a great job with putting it out. I thought it was
mhm.
presented very well, very tasteful and tactful. I think you chose the right person to give that to. Absolutely.
I definitely agree. And that's why I wanted to hop on here too, because was my sister sent me the previous video that you had done, and I felt like you did a really good job with it, and really portrayed, exactly kind of what's going on. And
Was
I
that the one
appreciated it.
last
I
night?
actually appreciated it a lot. It was your last live before this one.
Okay. Well,
Um,
thank you. I That was a hard live to do last night. It kept me up for a little while, but it really got my wheels spinning. And even in the beginning, thank you for saying that. Even in the beginning, I had this gut wrenching feeling, and I was folding laundry in my living room. I want to say about a week ago. I remember I told my friend AB about it, and my
mhm,
friend Marissa. Um, I heard him talking on the interview. It was the first interview he ever did on the 18th. So it must have been the
mhm,
18th. I was folding laundry in my living room, and my body turned ice cold listening to him. I got chills, shivers from my head to my feet. And I said, oh my God, something's totally wrong here. Like I just knew, I could feel it. And the more I listened to him, the more I started hearing things. Of course, you have to weed through all the rumors. You don't know what's true, you don't know what's factual, etc.
mhm,
But there is something about Don that is bone chilling to me. And whether that's something else and completely unrelated, I don't know. But seeing the pictures of Summer standing in those positions, and even some of the photos that were taken of her in positions that were just not acceptable for the camera, those being posted up is very concerning to me. So I always had this lurking feeling that there was something possibly going on that may have been deviant. Whether that's true or not, and I'm going to put respect in Summer's name, I would never say that this happened to her if it didn't. And I don't know, so I will never say that it did. All I know is what I see. And I know that there's some people in this community who have, professional licenses who have spoken. Many of them actually, they say the same. So we see, but we don't know. But I think that your mom and you bringing some clarity to this really helps us to get a better look and a more of an understanding as to what may have happened or could have played a role or may have been a contributor in this child disappearing.
Exactly. And if that one simple thing can, help find her, then that's all we wanted. Like, that's all either of us wanted, is just to help to find her. I mean, we definitely, like I said, hope and pray that she's okay and that she's safe. But even if she's not, we would love just to be able to have some answers and know, where she's at, and um, just, we all love her, even though we haven't met her. I read all of the things that people say about her sweet personality, and it breaks my heart because if she lived any kind of life like his other children, then she didn't deserve that. None of them do. And it just breaks my heart that there's people in the world that would kill to have kids and they can't. And then people like him, that have 7. So it's just,
Yeah, it's really worrisome about all
it's
of
really
this.
heartbreaking.
And then the
Sorry,
Go ahead.
there was a question or a comment that Joanne wrote, that there's no statute of limitations for sexual assault in the state of Utah. And while that is actually correct, it is correct, but without DNA evidence, because it's been so long, they basically said that they could form a case, but there would, that nothing would probably really come of it, because there's no concrete evidence. It's just basically his word versus hers. And they did say that if a younger victim came forward, or a current victim came forward, then we could speak on their behalf of our accounts of what had happened. But even though there is no statute, there is certain things that prevent people from actually being able to press charges. And that has been one of the, I just wanted to address that because it has been one of the things in the group. A lot of people have said, well, you can still come forward, but they don't understand the entirety of the situation. You do have to have concrete evidence like DNA or different things like that. And if she had come forward when she was younger and had the DNA, and then later said who it was, then it would be an entirely different story. But because she didn't, they can't really do anything.
So that's what I was going to say last night. A lot of people kept saying that there's no statute of limitations. But like you said, without a kit, there's no way to get that evidence, and there's no way to prove that it happened. And this is the problem. When women don't come forward, and or young girls don't speak out. Yes, Trish does have a beautiful voice. She's a great speaker. happy
Thank you.
You're very easy to have on panel. Have you ever been on one before?
I haven't. I've actually, several people have actually tried to ask me to do one and I refused. I hate my voice, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, a great job for your first time on panel for sure. I don't even think I did that good on my first try on panel. But what I was saying was, and it's a whole nother subject, it's a whole nother story for another day. But you guys, if you have daughters and you're raising daughters, awareness and teaching them right from wrong when it comes to their bodies is so important. And mothers and fathers who are raising boys, it is so important to teach your boys what appropriate and inappropriate behavior is with girls or boys,
Hmm.
whatever. I don't know, whatever the preference would be. Um, Women don't speak out because of the fear of not being believed. And when you have a family situation, the family ostracizing you or silencing you, making you feel less than, or punishing you, or perhaps the abuse becoming worse. If you don't report an assault of this nature in the appropriate manner of time, this is going to happen.
Hmm.
And that's the problem. That's why it's so important. You've got to speak out. You've got to get yourself to an emergency room. Tell your kids, you can come to me with anything. If
Hmm.
anybody touches you, if anything inappropriate is going on, you can always trust me. I'm your mom or I'm your dad. It's
Hmm.
so important you leave those lines of communication open, because and this is an if, and I hate to say this, I don't want to be slanderous, so let me be careful here. If this happened this summer and it was related to this specific family member, all of the women before, and there are quite a few, it seems, from what I'm hearing or what it sounds to be, at least 4 of them who are speaking about this, or friends of certain women who are speaking about it, this could have been prevented.
Hmm.
And you always have to keep in mind that it might happen to someone else. It's very likely to happen to someone else if you don't speak up. So, as hard as it is, and as hard as it may be, if you can't find support in your family, or if you can't find support within your friends or your circle, that's why the RAIN National Sexual Assault Hotline is up on the screen and scrolling, because there is help 24/7,
Hmm.
and no one should
Well,
have to live in
exactly.
silence.
Well, and it's astounding. I mean, there are people that don't even know the sexual assault happens, but it is really astounding. It's the statistics are 1 in 3 for women and girls and 1 in 5 for boys. So, and that's just the ones that the men or boys report. I know a lot of men and stuff get they feel ashamed. I mean, women do as well, everyone, but a lot of men don't come forward because they feel um, it's ashamed and different things like that too. But that statistic is just based off of people that come forward, and I think that it is insane. I mean, um, to think about that, my mom has 8 siblings, so 9 altogether. And if you think about that, if you have 9 children, 3 of them have been sexually assaulted. It's just astounding to me. Like, and not always, obviously, but that's the statistic, is 1 in 3 for women and 1 in 5 for boys and men. And
Yeah, the statistics are very, the numbers are very high for risk. So it's all in awareness and really teaching your daughters how to be safe and how to protect themselves, and teaching your sons how to protect themselves and how to be safe, and vice versa. You need to be aware all the time, and it's it's beautiful to see. And I have to say this again. Usually, it's a mom speaking out for her daughter, right?
Hmm.
Or a father speaking out for their daughter or son, whoever it might be. I know a lot of people say it can happen to boys too. Yes, absolutely. I'm not leaving out the boys. But for a daughter to come forward and support their mother like this is incredible. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
It takes a tremendous amount of strength to do what you're doing. And I have nothing but love and prayers for you and your mom. I am so sorry that this happened to her, that your family has had these things occur. It's heartbreaking, and I'm very, very empathetic to what you're going through. Thank you very much, Trish, for being so open and for coming up here and talking. The chat is very receptive to you. You have so much.
Yeah, I appreciate all of the support, and yeah, I've been reading the comments, and I appreciate you guys all so much, and thank you for letting me come on and talk and kind
You're
of
welcome anytime.
explain the different things. But um, yeah, definitely, thank you.
You're always welcome here anytime. Is there anything that you want to say before you go? Is there anything at all that you feel you've left out, or anything you want to say?
Not really. I really appreciate all of the support and love, and like I said, if any of you ever feel like you can't talk to someone, just keep telling people until someone will listen, because eventually someone will listen, and it can save someone else's life. I mean,
Good.
my just in my own case, had um, a few people come forward. The things would have broken the cycle, and the things wouldn't have happened to me.
Mhm.
And I think that I don't know. I think that a lot of times abusers have been abused, but not always. And the more that we can talk about it and kind of support these women and men, instead of pushing them down or saying, oh, not believing them or whatever, I think the more that it can stop. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for everyone for all their support. And if I know a lot of people don't know me or whatever, but if ever you need someone to believe you, I always will. So just
Aw.
keep, like I said, just keep trying until someone will listen, because it took me a lot of years and a lot of therapy, but but I'm breaking the cycle with my own kids, and that's the only thing that I can hope for future generations, is that someone can also break the cycle for them too. Because and also, don't ever be afraid to tell your kids about the evil in the world, because there is so much evil in this world, and I know a lot of parents try to shield their kids from that, because they think it's protective. It really isn't. They need to know. I'm very open and honest with both of my kids about sexual assault and just assault in general. My daughter is 7 and my son is 12, and they both are fully aware of all the evils of the world, and I think that helps protect them. And but yeah, I just think, talk to your kids, guys, because if kids are telling you something's happening, it is. Just always believe them.
Always. Absolutely. Boys, girls, it doesn't matter. Let your kids come to you and talk to you. Trish, I have to tell you, AB, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Have you watched us?
I haven't. This was the first video I saw,
Okay.
was the one of my
Um,
mom's.
he's been working on this case around the clock, pretty much. I mean, when we're not sleeping, we're usually talking about Summer. He sends his love to you and thanks you very much, and for speaking out and coming forward. Is very important and strong for you to do. So he wanted to make sure I got that message to you, and we all feel that way. You always
Thank
have a
you.
platform here. Same with your mom, if ever she needs to speak. There are a lot of creators in this community that would welcome both of you with open arms. We have Chasing Truth, who covers this. Um, let's see who else has been covering summer. Molly has been covering summer. We have, oh my gosh, there's so many people, and I feel bad because I'm gonna forget them all right here, right now. Like when your mind goes blank. Unpacked
Mhm.
has been covering this as well. They're actually going live tonight with a statement from Macbeth's mom. That's the boy that was at the swimming hole. She's going to be on there tonight. I think Unmasked is here in the chat. I pinned it up there earlier. So if you guys haven't seen, go hit that bell and wait for the reminder. But yes,
Yeah,
pretty
I
much the whole
definitely.
community is covering and supporting summer. We have so many people covering this. Amanda S. Vita. So uh, there's plenty of places where you guys could have a voice if ever you needed that. And I hope that you know you're always welcome on any of our channels. It doesn't have to be mine, it could be anybody's. So
Yeah, I would definitely like to follow that if you pin it at the top so I can
yes.
um
So when you
and
exit here and you go to the chat, it's going to be in blue pinned up there with a little light bulb, and it says you don't want to miss this. That's the link. It's right on the live
okay.
chat. It hangs up there. That's the link to Unmasked tonight. I think what time is that? Let me look. It is in hours at 8:30 p.m. So that's definitely
Okay.
going to be a
Perfect.
good one. And I believe that AB is going live again tonight. So we've got some busy stuff going on, but this is going to be,
Okay.
I think, very helpful, Trish, for people who are covering this case and listening, following what's going on with Summer. It's really so much appreciated by this community, and everybody here really cares so much about Summer. We care about what happened to your mom too.
Thank you.
You're a sweetheart.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do. I really appreciate you guys.
I hope that you feel okay leaving my panel and that you don't feel any stress or anything like that. I hope that this wasn't a bad experience for you in any way, or I hope that you felt supported here, if anything, because this is a big deal for, for you to speak out on this and to speak. It's, scary. It can be scary for people to speak against an abuser.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, like I said, I feel like you did a great job, and I felt completely comfortable the entire time. So and like I said, that outpouring and support of everyone is just amazing. So I do appreciate it. But yeah, it was definitely a good experience.
Good. I'm glad. As long as it was a good experience for you, I just want to make sure. My contact info is in my about section if you need anything at all.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, hon. You have a great day. Give your mom a big hug.
I will. Bye.
Right. Bye, hon.